out everywhere into the country, Georgia, Maryland, California, up to Maine. And everybody that they're coming in contact with potentially could be affected. There was a story from Maryland how parents got letters sent home from their school saying that their child had been exposed to an illegal immigrant child who had tuberculosis. That's going to be repeated. So this is not something that people should think of as being, oh, it's just happening in Texas, it doesn't affect me. And everybody is just being put at risk.
A country's borders are its first and last line of defense. First and last line of defense against aliens who are involved with criminal activity, terrorism activity, also people with dangerous diseases. The impact is nationally. The cost to our communities is national. The cost to the economy is national.
In law enforcement, especially along the border, we've seen a lot of these things happening, and the trend is moving inward into the inner part of the country. When we see those kinds of things happening here, there's no reason to believe they're not going to happen elsewhere, and those things are moving further into the communities in our inner cities and everything else. And the things that we've dealt with here for years, it's definitely going to become worse.
Either we come to the conclusion that America's national security is the priority, or we will face dire consequences. On 9/11, when that attack took place, and the ashes landed on my home, and my neighbors came out crying, this gets me to this day. Because they didn't know where their wives or their children or their parents were, they never saw them again. I knew in my heart that I had testified before Congress 4.5 damn years earlier, and they did not listen. And here we are being warned about ISIS, being warned that there's a clear and present immediate danger. Politicians from both sides of the aisle telling us that the solution to massive illegal immigration is to provide lawful status and identity documents to people who snuck into the country, whose true identities can't be determined. What could possibly go wrong? You've taken an oath to defend the country, defend the Constitution, and defend Americans.
Because illegal activity is condoned, outlaws are not punished, our border is wide open, our identity is disappearing, our national autonomy has disappeared.
A nation without borders is not a nation, and that's what we're becoming here on our southern border.
Everybody needs to take it seriously. We know because we've been here on the front lines for lots of years. But we are here to tell you that live in Middle America, it is coming to you. And until it affects your children, and when it does, it might be too late. So you'd better wake up right now, because this is an issue that is not going to go away.
Washington's promise to illegal immigrants is a life in America without consequences. And that's simply not the truth. What we are seeing on our border today is neither moral nor compassionate. It is neither moral nor compassionate to encourage parents to send their children off to embark on a life or death trek with an uncertain future. It is neither moral nor compassionate to put children at risk of bodily injury, disease, or possibly even worse, life as a gang slave. It is neither moral nor compassionate to put our own hardworking American families at such risk. This young Honduran woman was brought to the border by a human smuggler. She couldn't keep up with the others, abused by the environment, ripped by the mesquite, and dehydrated. So she was simply left to die. Fortunately, she was rescued in time. Can we say the same for America?
There is no place on earth like America. My father came here, 60 years ago, started from nothing, had his child go to Princeton, become a doctor, and I'm sitting here talking to you, and it couldn't happen anywhere else. And I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. And if we let this slip away, then we're going to regret it.
When I got here in America, I had $75 in my pocket. Now I have a house, I have a very good life, and I always thank Americans to give me that opportunity.
We are generous on immigration. We allow 1 million a year to come lawfully, plus another 600,000 guest workers are here. That's a generous policy. We don't need to apologize for it. So this is a generous nation with regard to immigration, and that vitality of good immigration has always been a positive for America. It's our strength as a people. We just don't do anybody a favor. It's not compassionate to bring in millions of people, millions, who don't have work to do, are going to struggle to get by, and not live a healthy life.
America has always been a beacon for those that want a better life, and it still is today. There is already a legal path to citizenship for those wishing to immigrate to the United States. Anyone who decided to get off that path and enter the United States illegally should not be given any sort of amnesty. That is neither fair nor equal treatment under the law.
There are people who have stood in line, who have done everything that was requested of them to come to this country legally. I don't understand why we would have rules in this country if we're not going to enforce them.
We've lacked the will. We always get close to taking the final step, but we never take the final step that closes the loop, that ensures accountability and enforceability.
We have to enforce the laws that are on the books. We have to allow the people who are responsible for immigration, Border Patrol, ICE, HSI, those organizations have to be able to do their job in accordance with the law and not just political policy.
If you're really serious about shutting down the border, then fund local law enforcement. Local law enforcement knows who's involved. Local law enforcement knows the area.
If we enforce the laws that we had, if we did 100% detention, 100% removal, then this would stop. And we know it would stop because we've had this in the past. In 2006, we were getting hit with record numbers of people coming in from countries other than Mexico. And we were apprehending them, we were releasing them on their own recognizance, never to come back. And then we put into what was called an expedited removal, where it was 100% detention, 100% removal. Literally in 3 days it dried up. Once word got back to the home country that we're not going to release you, it was like turning off a faucet. People just stopped coming.
It starts with our borders, it continues with interior enforcement, and it's about sending a very clear message to people around the world. We are a country of laws. We are serious about our laws, and there will be consequences for those people who don't abide by those laws. It's not about being left or right, but about being right or wrong.
We've been there when the Republicans had control of the White House. We've been there when the Democrats have had control of the White House, and nothing has changed to help us on the border. This is not a red issue, and it's not a blue issue. It's a red, white, and blue issue.
America